I have as my in-studio guest Leanna Bonamici, who is the creator and producer of a show that I tape every Saturday night. It's on PBS at 11 o'clock every Saturday night, worth taping. It's called Shorts Showcase, and it is a showcase for short films. Leanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure, Anita.
Oh, my pleasure. It's always fun to see you. And your show is amazing. I've seen some short films on there. You know, short films are those things that we almost never get to see in the theater. And I've seen some films on there, and I've commented to you from time to time, wow, I really like that. Or, you know, there are others that are just not quite ready for prime time.
That's kind of the beauty of short films. If you don't like it, it's over in a couple of minutes. And you get to make a decision. You know, you get to use your own intelligence and choose something.
Well, the beauty of the show is being able to discover talent and product that blows you away. And that happened to me a few weeks ago when you ran a film called Odds or Evens. And it was produced by a guy named Jay Gormley, who started his career in news here at K-News in the desert. Jay, are you there?
I am here, Anita. Yeah. I started back in 1989. I was a morning drive editor for the 3-hour rush hour drive, and I spent about a year at K-News, and then eventually wound up at KMIR TV as a TV reporter there for 3 years.
And now you're in Dallas?
Yeah, the TV news business makes a gypsy out of you. It kind of moves you from town to town. So I went from Palm Springs to Baton Rouge, Milwaukee, and then I was in Dallas for 15 years. I started here in 97 at the CBS station, and I was a reporter all the way up to about 10 months ago. And after 23 years of being a TV news reporter, I thought, you know what, it was a good run, but I got a family, and I need a more civilized life, so...
So you became a writer and director of films? What, are you crazy?
Yeah, I know. That's I don't know if the switch is more maddening or if it's going to lead me to the promised land. But I figured, now's the time to start venturing in and exploring my options.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I do remember when you were here in the desert, and I'm going to talk to you in a bit about what propelled you to this particular subject matter and this particular film. I also want to welcome Charles Baker, who is the star, the lead actor, actually, in this film, Odds or Evens, and coincidentally happens to play the role of Skinny Pete on Breaking Bad, which starts its last season tonight. My engineer, Charles, is absolutely beside himself to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So am I, this Leanna. Thank you so much, both of you.
Well, and Charles, I have to say, I was so impressed with the performances and yours in particular in this film, Odds or Evens. I have not seen a film in a long time, short or full length, that had the same impact on me as this one did. So let me ask you very quickly, Charles, what was it that, how did you even find out about this project, and what was it that drew you to this role?
Well, Jay and his partner, John Venable, approached me through my agent with the script, and I read the script, and it had that same effect on me. It has a really just a strong message. It's a great story. It's and the fact that I'm usually, because of the role I play on Breaking Bad, I'm usually only seen as a drug addict thug kind of character.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing totally wrong with that, but it gets monotonous after a while of being asked to play the same role and do the same interrogation scene over and over again. And it was really nice to actually get this opportunity to play something different than that and to show off my acting abilities and in a sense to be able to relax a little bit and not have to work so hard at a character and sort of be myself or a little more of myself in a film.
But you were brilliant in this film. You were brilliant in this film. You didn't even have to speak.
That's one of the reasons we went after Charles too. Is actually it was my filmmaking partner John Venable who knew his agent and said, you know what, let's go after Charlie. He's probably getting a lot of roles as drug addicts or thugs, and this is completely the opposite. And I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of seeing actors who you typically see in one role. I say to myself, I bet you this person would be really good in the complete opposite role. And thanks to John, we contacted his agent, and Charlie loved the script, and we were so thankful to have him.
Well, let me start out by saying, how could anyone not have been totally blown away by that script? You wrote it yourself, Jay?
No, my filmmaking partner, John Venable, was also the co-writer on it as well. So we do a lot of short films together. We've done a feature film together. And then occasionally we do our own films together. So we collaborate on some projects, and some projects we don't. But on this one, we felt I had written the original script, and it was there, but not 100%. And that's when I really turned to John, and so I turned it off to John, and he kind of added some twists and some polishes, and we kept bantering back and forth, and we finally settled on that, and then we got it off to Charlie, and I mean, we almost were floored when Charlie said, yeah, I'll do it, because we knew he was a very established actor on Breaking Bad, but we took a chance, we rolled the dice, and it paid off.
Well, it paid off in spades, I have to say. For those who haven't seen it yet, let me just give them at least this much information. It's kind of an embodiment of the concept of what goes around comes around. And the twist, I don't want to give away the story because seeing the film has so much power. And just the acting is terrific, and the structure of the script, the way it unfolds. Jay, you and your partner deserve all the kudos possible, because I still am so affected by the way the film ends. It reminds me, do you remember an old story that we were supposed to have read back in school? Remember a story called The Lady or the Tiger?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Where there's an incredible choice that someone has to make, because behind one door is a tiger that will tear him apart limb from limb, and behind the other door is a beautiful maiden. And the way the story unfolds, it leaves you wondering at the end which door he chose. It doesn't tell you. And that was my immediate reaction when I saw Odds or Evens, the idea that it builds so beautifully to an ending that leaves the viewer having to decide what the viewer would have done under those circumstances. We have to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Leanna about Short Showcase, how it started, how she finds this kind of material. And Jay and Charles, if you'll hang around, I want to get back to you and a little bit more about what went into making the film. This is Anita Rufus, the Lovable Liberal. If you have questions for any of my guests, please feel free to call in at 760-864-6397.
It's the Lovable Liberal. You're listening to the Anita Rufus Show on K-News. Now, here's Anita.
And thank you so much for joining me every Sunday from 11 to 1 here at 94.3 FM and 970 or 1250 AM, or online at knewsradio.com. My in-studio guest today is Leanna Bonamici, who is the producer and creator of Short Showcase, which runs every Saturday here in the desert at 11 o'clock on PBS. And also Jay Gormley, who is a former news guy from here in the Coachella Valley, who is the co-writer and director of a short film called Odds or Evens, which blew me away. When I talk about it, even I get chills. And also online with us, on the phone with us, is Charles Baker, who is coincidentally the star, the lead actor in this film, Odds or Evens, and just happens to be Skinny Pete on Breaking Bad, which starts its final season tonight. Leanna, let me talk to you for a minute. How did you find Odds or Evens? Or really, how do you find the product for your show?
We reach out to film festivals. Short Showcase is actually a home to bring life to films that have been through the festival circuit. We want filmmakers to go get every opportunity they can to promote their wares and move on and progress their careers and get all the accolades they can garner. And then when the festival circuit is done, they go sit on a shelf. So Short Showcase takes those films, dusts them off, and puts them up for the world to see. And it has been so great for so many filmmakers, and that's the part that makes us the proudest, because we get to help filmmakers get their wares out there, because there are only so many avenues for a short film to go to, and we provide really good exposure in many avenues.
Now, your show is on here in the Valley on PBS on Saturdays at 11, but it's on a much broader audience.
We have regional reach throughout all of Southern California. So Jay's film and Charles' film is actually in the homes of everybody in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So Hollywood can see you.
That
but all
is
the way
wonderful.
from Los Angeles down to North County, San Diego, and out through here, through the desert.
And you've been on the air with this for how long?
Actually launched in 2009 on Time Warner on demand, and then also online, and then in 2011 we were picked up by PBS.
And how did you find Odds or Evens?
We reached out to filmmakers via a list we got from the Short Fest, and invited them to submit their films to us.
And Jay, were you aware of this programming before you were contacted by Leanna?
I was not, and I'd like to take the chance now to thank Leanna and Short Showcase, because one of the things with our film is, believe it or not, we were kept out of a lot of film festivals because the length of our film was 20 minutes. Yeah. And in festival, and I think, Leanna, you can attest to this, yes. Programmers have a hard time sometimes programming a 20-minute film, because for every 20-minute film they program, they've got to kick out 3 good 7-minute films. So sometimes it's a matter of they'd rather get more films in. And so, believe it or not, although we got kudos and rave reviews on our films, we were unable to get into a lot because of our time. So when this came up, I was looking on the website, and that was the one thing that really attracted me to Short Showcase. Is not only is there a website, but there's also a YouTube page. Yes. And there's no time limit there. And they were showing everything from a 5-minute film to a 25-minute film. So I'm like, okay, this might be my home. And so I sent in a DVD, and about 4 or 5 months later, I got a call back saying, look, we'd like to put you on the website, and we'd like to put you on our YouTube page. And they kind of start you out that way. You start out on the YouTube page and then on the website. And we built up a following, and Charles can speak to that. He started, getting his Breaking Bad fans interested in the movie. And I think, within a week, we had over 1,500 views for a 20-minute film. I know that's not YouTube records here, but for people to sit down in their busy days and watch 20 minutes of a film, that was pretty good. And Charles was great and instrumental in leading that.
Charles, let me ask you, have you done other short films?
I've done a few. More since starting Breaking Bad than afterwards, a lot for the same reason, or than before, for a lot of the same reason. I wanted to stretch my legs. I wanted to, get a chance to do what most studios and networks wouldn't take a chance on, and that was playing roles like the runner I play in the marathon runner I play in Odds or Evens, or playing an astrophysicist, or I play a demon in another short film. It's been fun, and I really enjoy getting the chance to do that. It's a great avenue for actors to really stretch their legs and get a chance to try something new and take a chance and take a risk.
And not to give away anything, but in whatever terms you feel comfortable talking about it, mm-hmm. What would your decision have been at the end of the film? Would you have told her or not?
I think Me personally, yeah, I would have had to have owned up to that. I would have had to have. I think that's the only way to have gotten through that, and taking ownership of responsibility for what had happened. I don't know that everyone would have. I think that's a very tough choice, and that's why I hope that's what I think Jay and John were going for was. It's almost a morality play.
Oh, absolutely. Leanna, let me ask you, Short Showcase is only one of your projects.
Correct.
You're involved in other things here locally as well.
Correct. We are an entity called CV Studios Entertainment, and under our umbrella, we have several shows. One is Short Showcase. That's our main moniker, and then we have another show that was picked up on PBS called The Real Desert with Steve Brown. We produce the Cooking It Up with Carly show, and and
I interviewed Carly on the show once. She was an absolutely delightful young woman.
Yes, and then also this spring we're working on a show called Conversations on Craft, which with Luke Yankee, which is on the lines of the Actors Studio, and there's a whole story with that, and we'll go into it some other time. But,
wow!
Today it's about our good friends from Short Showcase, and I have to thank you, Jay, and you, Charles, because this means a lot that you come out for this and did what you did to support viewership on the film, and it really, our goal is to get that work out there to be seen because you only have a moment of opportunity, and we appreciate the effort that you put into it, and we encourage more filmmakers to send us their films. And Charles, you mentioned those other films you're in. Please send them in to us.
Charles,
and you had touched upon it about you were blown away by the acting.
Yes.
Well, one of the things the Short Showcase does is it lets people know that there's great actors not just in L.A. and New York, but all over the country. That entire ensemble cast was from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Charles is now in Los Angeles, but at the time he was living in Fort Worth. And I mean, from the guy who played the doctor to my filmmaking partner John, who plays the therapist in it, he was fantastic. And these guys are all local Dallas actors. And what Short Showcase does is say, hey, you don't always have to look in L.A. and New York for great acting talent. It's out there, and it's a way for us to let people know that. So, who knows? Maybe an agent in L.A. will see Charlie's performance. I mean, Charlie has an agent, but or John's performance, or
the girls.
I mean, our female lead was fantastic.
She was fantastic.
Yes, she was.
Absolutely.
She's another part of the reason why
What is her name?
Willing to do it. I was familiar with her work in Dallas-Fort Worth, and she's a phenomenal actress, Lydia McKay. And knowing that she was going to be the lead female in that just really made that a choice for me to do it a lot easier because I knew I was going to be in capable hands.
Well, before
her name is Lydia Mackey, by the way.
Sorry.
Mackey, okay.
Yeah.
No, she was absolutely terrific in it. And Charles, you were just so good. I mean, you didn't even have to speak, and you just bled emotion. It was beautifully done, really, seriously.
Oh, that final scene on your face at the end of the movie really is incredible. And again, I want to encourage people to see the film. Before I let Charles go, thank you so much for joining us. And Skinny Pete on Breaking Bad, you want to give us any kind of a hint about what to expect this season?
Expect to be blown away, yo. That's all I have to say.
Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. Jay, can you hang for a little longer?
Absolutely.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Very grateful, Charles.
We'll be back with Jay Gormley and with Leanna Bonamici, and this is Anita Rufus, the lovable liberal. If you have any questions, 864-6397. This hour, I have an in-studio guest named Leanna Bonamici, who is the creator and producer of Shorts Showcase, which runs on our local PBS station at Saturday night every Saturday night at 11. And what Leanna does is feature short films, the kinds of films that you can't really get a chance to see in regular theaters. And I'm particularly pleased to have Jay Gormley also with us this hour. He is the co-writer and director of a film called Odds or Evens. It's a 20-minute film that I saw a couple of weeks ago on Shorts Showcase, and I am still, if I even talk about your film, Jay, and imagine the feeling that I was left with after the very last frame, I get goosebumps. I'm curious to know, how did you come up with the idea? You know, I was married to a writer, and it's always fascinating to me to see where writers get their ideas. How did you come up with this?
Well, you know, our film company, John and mine, our film company is called Film Cynics. And it's spelled FilmCynix, but of course it's film and then of course Cynics. And, you know, one of the things, when we first started doing our short films, they were always anti-Hollywood. They didn't have the happy ending. But just doing that for the sake of doing that, it's nice. You might say wow at the end, but you don't really leave the audience with much. So we thought, if we're going to not have a typical Hollywood ending, let's have some meaning to it. And, you know, one of the things, when I came up with the first draft, I knew I wanted to go that way, and then John and I started bouncing it back. But there's got to be a reason. It's just, you know, you got to give people a reason to care. And that, at that point, and we're not trying to give too much away, we realized there had to be consequences to someone's actions. And obviously, at the end, there are consequences to actions. So that's how we came up with it. We wanted more than just, we punched you in the gut, thank you, goodbye. We wanted people to really think about it.
Well, you certainly accomplished that. As I say, I can't stop thinking about it. And most particularly in the sense of leaving the audience with something, what it left me with was to really investigate my own feelings about what should happen next. And I think the beauty of the film, for those who haven't seen it yet, is it leaves you with, oh my gosh, what happens next?
And forgiveness.
Well, and please, I mean, the thing about this film is, yes, it did air on PBS, but it's still up and alive on Short Showcase's YouTube page.
That's
and if
right.
in fact, if you Google or use any search engine, Odds or Evens, I think it's the first video that comes up, and it's right there on your YouTube page, Leanna.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Thank you very much for that and all the work you've done to support that as well. It means an awful lot, and it's also available on the Short Showcase mobile app.
Before I let you go, Jay, what have you got in the hopper right now?
I just finished another short called Birthday Games. And it stars our female actor, Lydia Mackey. She, once again, is brilliant. I would have loved to have Charles, but he had made the move to Los Angeles at that point, so it was kind of difficult to get him in, especially for a short film. And I've also written a feature-length script that's kind of been passed around Hollywood. It's come close. It gets life every now and then, called $30,000 Millionaires. And I also have a TV pilot that I'm kind of shopping around too, called Frat Lines.
Good for you.
It's kind of Breaking Bad meets Entourage meets Boardwalk Empire. It's
wow.
It's about a group of college students who fall on hard economic times, and so they hatch a plan to form a fraternity, not to be frat boys, but actually to run a large drug operation out of the frat house. And there's your Breaking Bad element, and then you've got your entourage because you've got these group of guys who are young and hip and hanging out together.
And
then Boardwalk Empire, of course, you've got the whole selling of narcotics. And drugs.
And for what it's worth, I'm not sure it's an original idea.
Probably not.
I'm sure that there are some guys in some frat house somewhere.
Yeah, art imitating reality somewhere.
One more quick question about doing short films. You ended up with a 20-minute film. How long does it take, once you get the script done and you've cast it, you know what you're going to do, how long does it take to get that kind of a film shot and edited and ready to be seen?
We shot in 3 days, believe it or not.
Wow.
So the script, I believe, was 18 pages, maybe 17. So we were shooting at a clip of about 6 pages a day. Typical Hollywood feature films are about 4 to 5, so we were eclipsing that. And we did have to move from location to location. It wasn't like all one location. Yeah. So we were blowing and going, definitely. And then the editing process, and shout out to our editor, Dave French, at Ludus Studios. He was one of the co-producers. And if you remember the film, Anita, with all those flashback scenes and the editing, that was the genius of Dave French, and
it was very nicely done.
Yeah, the cinematography was outstanding. It took us,
as well. I would say, it took about 3 months to edit. Now, it wasn't 3 straight months. You know, we would hit it for a month, take a couple weeks off, hit it for a month, that kind of thing.
Right.
Well, I wish you well on your future projects. It gives me great pleasure to know that K-News launched you off into your career, and
you'll always have a home at Short Showcase.
Thank you. Well, can I say something to Leanna and just to everybody who's listening? You know, when you get a film that you like, and it doesn't have to be my film, it could be any film. If you fall in love with a film like Anita has with ours, and thank you for that, we are humbled, pass it on. Send the link. Tweet it out, because these filmmakers work very hard. And, you know, even if they do well or they don't do well in the film festival circuit, it's still a limited audience on film festival circuits. But YouTube and your website are great ways to spread the message about good filmmaking.
Yeah, thank you. We shall do so.
Thank you very much for your time and for joining us today, Jay. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Anita, and continued success to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jay. Likewise.
My guest, Leanna Bonamici, is still here with me. She is the creator and producer of Shorts Showcase, which you can see every Saturday night on PBS here locally at 11 p.m. I recommend taping it. It is worth it. It's only a 30-minute show. They always have at least one short film, sometimes very short, sometimes a little longer. The movie that got me so fired up, called Odds or Evens, is a 20-minute film. I highly recommend that you go to Leanna's website to click into that film, or Google it and just put Odds or Evens. And
our YouTube channel,
the YouTube channel
Short
has
Showcase
it.
channel, the Short Showcase mobile app.
It is a film well worth seeing. Okay, Leanna, what are you up to now? What's happening next for Short Showcase and for CV Productions?
CV Studios Entertainment, along with my business partner, Carol Kretschmann, whom you also know, we are really growing Short Showcase out to reach as many filmmakers as possible. We're reaching out to festivals to work with them on their short film programs, and honing in on the short filmmaker. And we have just released our mobile app. So now anybody, anywhere in the world, can download the Short Showcase mobile app. If you're waiting for a train, you're waiting for a friend, you're sitting there wanting something to do, you can watch short films, and it's free. We have all kinds of plans for that, and we're really, really, really happy and excited about that.
Any possibility that you're heading toward expanding on PBS exposure beyond Southern California?
Absolutely. We're working with an affiliate manager right now who's taking us across the country with
wonderful
with the Short Showcase, as well as our other show that CV Studios produces, which is called The Real Desert with Steve Brown, which features, that's a travel destination.
And when
show.
does it run?
That will begin airing on the same PBS station throughout Southern California, KVCR, on Monday nights at 7:30. And that show features the character and the characters of the American Southwest. And so we're very excited about that as well.
That's great.
Yeah, that's going to be a
Now,
fun
is
show.
that documentary or is it scripted?
It's mostly documentary. It's real life, it's real people, it's real things, and lots of fun. It's not a goofy show, but it's not a news show.
With a focus on this area in particular?
The American Southwest.
Okay.
So that's everywhere from Washington State down to the Mexican border.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And short showcase, what's coming up next that I should be keeping an eye on?
We're planning our awards ceremony and a few little events in between. But right now, the big news for us is that we just released our mobile app, and that's a big deal.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're interested in watching Short Showcase every Saturday night at 11 o'clock here on PBS, and go to Short Showcase website.
Yep, the Short Showcase, youtube.com/Short Showcase, the Apple Store to download your free mobile app, and then tune in. And thank you all very much. And thank you, Anita.
Thank you very much. It's just a pleasure to have you here, and I'm just so impressed with the kind of support that you're giving to people like Jay, who are producing short films and desperately need to get them seen by the public.
They need a life. We provide that life.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Leanna.
Anita.
I'll see you again soon.